All right, so let's take a look at KMS version 1.2.351. So it's part of Maple Live, which is the summer update for KMS, which will be our winter update. It seems to be like an interlude kind of event because it doesn't fit the name schedule that everyone was expecting it to be. So we think this is kind of like a filler event with the new class, Lara, and that the general storyline progression that's spelling out Grandis, that those patches are waiting a little bit, right? Because we had Glory, Rise, Awake, Neo, and then which spells out Gran. If it was an L, Granul doesn't really fit, so we are expecting this to be kind of like an interlude. So we have the romantic geomancer Lara. Makes it harder and harder to take this game seriously. Here are the videos. We've already watched both of these. Nice cinematics. A claymation cinematic. Behind the scenes of the claymation cinematic. And this looks like World of Warcraft, I believe. Okay. So we have the character selection screen. Is going to be animated. Like you guys saw it in the stream preview just now, right? A lot of the characters have animated character selection screens now. I think they look way better than the old ones for sure. Then Azrael showed the zero screen. That one wasn't looking as pimpin', so that one needs to be updated for sure. We've got our little village going on here. We've got our very different looks for our male and female characters. Super different. There's a wad of hair behind the person, I guess. And there's a little skirt instead of pants. So we've had 2 iterations so far in the test server of the new class. And we're going to see what actually is making it into the game. So we have a very shiny skill here. The Dragon Veins. So it's an anima mage, so it shares cash up with Ho Young. It actually also comes with a new skill that Ho Young will be able to get. Because as you guys may know, Ho Young does not have a blessing skill. No goddess blessing skill at this point. So the fact that Lara is coming out with that skill means that Ho Young is getting a new skill as well. It's not amazing, but it's something. Her secondary weapon is the Norige. And the Legion effect is 10, 20, 40, 80, 100 int. So just a flat int buffer. And she gets a little floaty planet right here in Grandis next to all the other ones. We can play a little bit of the music, I guess. And alternate between that while we are scrolling down. So you can see the village here. It's going to be a beautiful storyline about how amazing it is to live with nature and commune with the spirits and all that good shit, okay? Does anyone use Grandis Blessing? They do, but it's kind of bad. Like it's kind of bad. Yeah, but I do have Grandis Blessing. You're right. But they are getting an extra skill. Okay, why does music always get louder as it goes on? So we have all the NPCs. Wow, amazing. Gotta catch them all. We have a bunch of facial expressions. This is all going to be storyline. Kadina's going to be in there, and the Ho Young character is going to be in there because, you know, it's all near in the same area, I guess. Here we have the new monsters looking very, very dangerous. We have the Weedle, the Butterfree, the Centret, and the Furret. More furries. Golden Bell, ding-a-ling-a-ling. Alright, cool. Good stuff. I don't know if I've seen this one, actually. Oh, this is a new cinematic. Okay, let's watch this one when this song ends. In 3, 2, 1. Fade. Beautiful. Perfectly timed. Oh god, it's Guan Yu. That is one erect boulder. Got him. Destroyed him with water. So you're gonna destroy things with cuteness, in case you didn't get it yet. So that's the new stuff that's gonna come. That's what it's gonna look like. Well, obviously not exactly like that because it's still a 2D game. But next song, while we scroll further, Between Alley. So we can go over all of the skills. We could do this really quickly. We've already gone over them. But the Link skill is going to be, at least in KMS, all the Link skills are maxed at level 2. We might get a level 3. We don't know. Probably not, but who knows. It's going to be purely a mobbing Link skill. It gives you 5% damage. That works in both mobbing and bossing, of course. And then when you kill 20 regular monsters for 30 seconds, your damage to regular monsters will go up by 11%. And the reactivation cooldown is 30 seconds. So basically, you're just constantly getting 16% damage at level 2. This also makes me think that there's probably not going to be a level 3, because 16% damage is like among the highest numbers that are in the game, even if it's specifically only for mobbing versus mobbing and bossing. So for bossing, this is going to be garbage. It's just 5% damage, not good. For mobbing, this is going to be best in slot, 16% damage with like 100% uptime, right? You'll kill 20 monsters really, really quickly, so this is constantly refreshing. So it's a very good mobbing Link skill. There's a return skill. There's a little summon skill that'll pop up over your head to change your appearance, just like all the other animas have, which is only Hoyoung, of course. Then you have the summon duration, that's also a standard anima skill, and the exclusive spell, which is basically the echo skill, which all the other people have as well. Okay, this scrolling is going to get annoying real quick, but let's do the third song. The main attack, which has gotten tweaked quite a few times, is called Spirit Sprinkle. Basically, Spirit Sprinkle just keeps getting overpowered and overpowered as you go. And this, you're going to see a lot of similarities. I'm going to spoil it a little bit. If you're thinking of the Evan class, and we look through everything like this, you're going to see similar theme with elements and stuff, but instead of like having a dragon to help you, instead you use the spirits of the earth that like pull it out. But it's seeming like it's going to be similar-ish to Evan in a lot of ways that it plays, but we'll get through it some more. So this is like your standard attack. Your standard attack that you start with immediately hits 4 times and up to 5 enemies, so it can do up to 20 lines immediately. So that's pretty broken. Talk more about Kana. Nothing is happening to Kana. I was just joking. Don't worry. You have a flash jump. So this is going to be a flash jump mage. That's very important. And you have a upper jump. So that's the up jump that we kind of saw in the cinematic, where you create a platform and then you jump upwards, right? This little guy that you summon, the Mountain Kids, has a bunch of different attack animations. He'll just trigger sometimes when you do skills, and it'll do like a little bit of extra damage. Mountain Guardian, when hit, consumes 40 MP to reduce damage taken by 50%. So this is basically your magic guard. This is pretty good, actually. It consumes a flat amount of 40 MP and then reduces the damage taken by 50%. So this is kind of broken compared to the other magic guards, because the other magic guards usually take a percentage of the damage incoming and redirect it to MP, but instead it just costs you 40 MP every time, which of course you're a mage, so you're going to have boatloads of MP, and every time 50% of the incoming damage is reduced. And then Divine Response just gives you a little bit of stats, more damage reduction to make sure that since you're a mage, you don't get absolutely dumpstered in the early game areas. And then of course, I have to look at, what is it, second job, okay. Scroll back up, give us another song. Cool. Boom. Boom. Ctrl F, second. There we go. So these are the Dragon Veins. So these are going to be kind of similar to if you played Kana, that there are veins sometimes that pop up in the map that you can teleport to, or that you can put your barriers on to make the barriers bigger. This is going to be, the map is going to be covered in all of these veins constantly. Hopefully they made the visibility a bit better, because what they did in the beginning was if you put the skill visibility on 0, you couldn't actually see the veins, which was terrible. So basically, you can read the veins, discover the locations of the veins, blah 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 blah. If you use Dragon Vein skills on a Dragon Vein, it will be consumed, and then it turns into the skill. You have to use the same skill as the element of the vein, and there's going to be some other skills later where you can change the element of the veins as well, or produce extra veins, so you can save them up for a consumption skill that blows them all up if you're trying to burst on bosses, for example. So this is a toggle skill. Up to 10 Dragon Veins can exist on the same map, and if you move too far away from them, the furthest Dragon Vein will be destroyed, and then a new one will pop up after that. So Dragon Vein Eruption, and all of these skills, this is kind of like a prediction on the names. This is probably not going to be the actual names, because the skills are in traditional Korean, just like they were for Hoyoung. So the names might be quite a bit different when they actually come to GMS. Consume a nearby Dragon Vein and erupt its latent power. Based on the element, the corresponding Earth Spirits will erupt and stay in place. Wow, amazing. During the cast action, you have 100% stance, and that's kind of important, and that's kind of similar again to Evan, where Evan gives you 100% stance if Mir is using an attack. In the same way, if you're using any of the eruption or other type skills. Is it a summon skill? Eruption or... These are all the eruption skills. I think that's third job. Eruption or expression. You should be getting that 100% knockback resistance. So that'll help you in making sure that you don't get knocked all across the map. Of course, the Mihai Link skill is going to be the more reliable way. You can see the little baby animations. So you're basically just doing the Spirit Sprinkle while you're flash jumping, and then whenever you see one of those veins, you press the skill that's the same color as the vein in the beginning. And so you have the blue one, the Swelling River Eruption, little blue guy shows up, bam, does a big explosion around it, and then you just walk around again. This guy, River Earth Spirits, will remain for 16 seconds, so that's pretty long. When they swell, they deal this amount of damage. They can swell up to 8 times. Nice. Then this wind guy. So to give a little bit of background story from the Tespia server, so the Swelling River was seen a little bit weak, as well as the Sunrise Well, and the Whirlwind was a little bit too strong, so they ended up nerfing this one a little bit and buffing the other two a little bit to bring them in line with each other. So same thing with this guy, also remains for 16 seconds. This one can do up to 5 whirlwinds, and then but does damage continuously during this animation, so it hits a bunch of lines during that. And then the Sunrise Well, basically you're just going to be hopping around the map and then popping the same skill on the same color and then just Spirit Sprinkling in between, basically. That's what the first and second job is going to look like. And then Mountains Seeds, plants a bunch of seeds from the Earth for Spirit Row. At the place where the seeds are planted, the Earth Spirit will grow and attack nearby enemies, basically like a junior Newtie. If there are any elemental eruption skills active within a certain range, they will push enemies towards the eruption skill. Alright, so this one helps you set up your skill, I guess. When sees attack an enemy using damage reflect, you will not receive damage. If you use the skill with the down arrow key, you will plant all the prepared seeds at once. So you can save multiple seeds, like you have multiple stacks, multiple cartridges. You know, we see a lot of skills doing stuff like that recently. If you have a seed prepared, when you use an eruption skill, the mountain seed will be planted at the location of the Dragon Vein. So there's also a toggle to basically build up seeds. Then we have the wand booster. They will be using a regular wand as their regular weapon, and also increase the attack speed, of course. Wand mastery gives you 50% mastery and 35 attack. That's pretty basic. And then 40 intellect. That's all very basic, standard first and second job stuff. But now we get into the slightly more interesting third job stuff. So we have this really interesting skill called Where the River Flows, or however they're going to name it, where you can place 2 of those blue blobs again on the blue spirit veins, right? And it will create a river flowing between them. And if you run into one of them, you will basically fly to the other one. I believe you can use 1 eruption skill while you're floating, and you'll be immune to damage while you're floating like this. And it can be a pretty far distance. The skill cannot be used on non-hunting maps and certain maps. During the cast action, you have 100% stance, and while riding the river, you can use one skill that consumes dragon veins. Oh yeah, other than expression, with an increased consumption. Yeah. It should say that you don't take damage, because I believe we saw animations that you were immune at this point, weren't you? Maybe they changed it though. Try to move and flowing whatever is going to be reused. Continuously flow. Press the up arrow key to move. The arrival point cannot be set at portals or certain locations. No, it just says 100% stance here. Maybe they changed that because they didn't have another iframe, but it doesn't say so here. Maybe it gets changed on later. Arrival point for 20 seconds. It doesn't say it. See, it's still iframe, but it doesn't say that here. As far as I know, the iframe from the river is a bug. I think Steve said so. It doesn't say it in the description here at all, but I mean, it is fan translation, so we'll have to see the details. But it seems to function as an iframe now, which they don't have any iframe in their kit whatsoever, except for ethereal form that all the mages do when they hit 5th job. So if they remove this one, their survivability will come into play a little bit, and the reduced damage from their hyper skill will come into play instead. So expression, wind, swing. So these aren't as much attacks as they are mobility skills, and they do some stuff. This one also gives you 100% stance, 1 attack speed, 20 jump when you are in the area. Also, again, kind of similar to like what the Evan has. Also has that extra attack speed on a buff in pretty early on. Buff lasts 120 seconds for yourself and 20 seconds for party members. So you can boost the attack speed of your party members, which can be kind of nice. If you press the up arrow key in the middle of the pillar of light, you can rise into the air and float for up to 4.5 seconds. So that's some interesting stuff. And then Sunlight Filled Ground is also going to be a sort of a buff and sort of a support thing, which will create a shining light that heals people. And if you enter the area, you receive a buff that gives 25% damage. That lasts for 2 minutes for yourself and 20 seconds for party members. So it's kind of support, but not as big for supporting for other people. It's mostly to buff yourself. And if you're in the area, you restore 10% max HP every 2 seconds. And then the passive, of course, is that it increases the damage from your second job skills. Then you have Slumber Awakening. When a slumbering dragon veins power are awakened in an unrefined way, it is turned into intangible energy that tracks nearby enemies. Wow, great flavor text. If it attacks an enemy using damage reflect, you will not receive damage. During the cast action, you have 100% stance. You'll see that a lot. It happens on a lot of the skills. So you awaken 1 dragon vein, creating intangible energy based on a number of enemies in range. With a minimum of 7 to a maximum of 10, each energy deals 105% damage 4 times. So it'll be, bam, it'll be like that. You kind of like suck in the dragon vein's power. And the dragon veins themselves will get like disappear like that. If multiple energies hit a single enemy, the second and later energies will have their final damage decreased by 40%. You know, just to keep the scaling a little bit fair. Then we have Dragon Vein's Traces. Follow the traces of Dragon Veins. I think you can basically use this to... is used with the arrow key. Will prioritize finding a Dragon Vein in that direction. Free Dragon Veins within range are given priority, and if not, you will move to the nearest Dragon Vein. You will not move to Dragon Veins that are too close to your current location. So this is basically like the Kana teleport to the vein kind of thing. It's very similar to that. Deals 500 damage 2 times on up to 5 enemies when you like teleport through them. Prepare 1 earth energy every 6 seconds and you can hold up to 3. So there's a combination of those things. Dragon Vein's Echo. When Dragon Vein is consumed, restore 1% max HP and MP and increase your final damage by 5% for 20 seconds. I don't know if you can stack this multiple times. I believe you cannot get stacks on this or something, so it's just 5% final damage that you'll have all the time. I think this gets empowered later on, though, to like 10%, I think. Train your mind to be clear and pure. 20% damage, 10% boss damage, 20% critical rate, 30% MP. Clean. And then Geomancy just empowers all of your skills that you already have. Your basic Sprinkle, and then your 3 summon skills. Then 4th job just empowers and gives you new... Well, it doesn't empower. That was 3rd job. 4th job basically gives you new skills. Dragon Vein Absorption. So you absorb Activate an absorption skill matching the Dragon Vein's element. So this is during an absorption skill, if you activate another eruption skill or absorption skill with the same element, the absorption skill will end. So you can't have a bunch of these effective at the same time. So you're going to have to cycle between all of your skills and not just keep spamming them. Very similar again to Evan, where you cannot use the same skill or cannot use a mirror skill when mirror is already active, right? So you have to kind of keep weaving in between your different types of skills. Cooldown 0.3 seconds. So absorption, river, puddle, drench. So we kind of saw that in the cinematic, throwing a bunch of water on people. For 60 seconds, when Spirit Sprinkle hits an enemy, the river earth spirits will appear and deal 500% damage 6 times on 6 enemies. That's pretty big, and it's with Spirit Sprinkle, so it's like an added effect to that one. It's a 60-second buff, basically. But again, you can only have one absorption on at a time, so you're going to be kind of like cycling between these. Desolate Winds. For 60 seconds, when Spirit Sprinkle hits an enemy, Desolate Winds are activated at one of the hit enemy's locations. The wind deals 215 damage 2 times on up to 6 enemies. And then this guy, looking pretty cute, blowing fireballs at your face. Sunlight Sprout. For 60 seconds, when Spirit Sprinkle hits an enemy, the Sun Earth Spirits appear and emit 5 fireballs, and it will track nearby enemies to deal 200% damage, 6 times. Tracking, so that's kind of nice. We are getting these things as well. So this is where you Dragon Vein conversion. You can get a certain Dragon Vein and you can change it to another one that you want by using the arrow key of your liking. Is 3-second cooldown, and if you successfully change the element, the cooldown is increased by 7 seconds. It goes up to a 10-second cooldown. So this is mainly if you want to set up a bunch of Dragon Veins together, or certain elements in a certain location, if you want to optimize your burst when you're bossing. Or maybe there's a certain location in the map where you want to have the blue water dude, because it hits the platforms perfectly around it, right? So you can get some good gains. Maybe that's a red one instead. You pop there, you pop the one skill, bam, change it, use the other skill, and then jump away again, and then that element is doing its thing while you hop around. So you can use this to perfect your map rotations and to set up your burst damage on bosses. This skill has a little bit of a jitter in it, I see, but this is again like the wind, so that's like a continuous damage jitter. Big explosion. Nature Master, enjoy the nature and become one with the nature. Wow, allowing you to better handle the power. When you use eruption skills, you can draw out more latent power from Dragon Veins, increasing the power of your eruption skills. So this is expression where the river flows, etc. Yeah, you need a bunch of high-level character skills, but you know we max everything, so it doesn't really matter that these requirements exist. I guess, except for you will be a higher level before you can use them because you need enough skill points. Level 10, eruption skills durations are increased to 18 seconds, so they were originally 16, so they last longer. For Swelling River, the maximum number of monsters hit is increased by 2, number of hits is increased to 5, damage is increased to 100 by 128% points. At certain intervals, a large swell will be activated, dealing 580% damage 8 times on 10 enemies, and the regular swell and large swell can be activated a combined total of 9 times. So you don't need a whole bunch of new skills buttons, you don't need a whole bunch of new combinations and combos. You basically keep doing the same thing, but you're empowering everything that already exists. Whirlwind's range is increased, the maximum number of monsters hit is increased by 4, and the damage is increased by 157% points. And for Sunrise Well, the Giant's maximum number of monsters hit is increased by 4, damage increased by 247% points. Lava Area Creation range is increased, the Lava Area's damage is increased by 117% points. The volcanic bombs that show up here, that kind of like blow up and fly around and hit on the floor and leave a fire trail, like Evan. The DOT is increased by 50% points, and the volcanic bombs are created more frequently, and 5 are created at the same time, up to 5 times. So it's just purely looking at every single aspect of the other skills that you already have and impacting all of it and improving all of it. Best Friends, yes, that's actually the name of the skill. Maybe they'll change it for GMS when it comes out. Become a true friend of the earth, allowing you to draw out more spirits. Wow. Spirit Sprinkle attack range increase. So this is when you're empowering that main beginning skill that I talked about. MP consumption increased by 25. The maximum number of monsters increased by 1. And the damage is increased by 175% points. But it's mainly the attack range that's going to be quite a bit bigger, as you can see, than the beginning one. Then we have Mountain Enclosure. We have our friend here, our one-armed friend. Wait, why does in the icon he has 2 arms, but here he has 1 arm? Surround your body with the power of the mountain that embraces all life to reduce damage taken. Not affected by cooldown resets. While casting, you are not affected by critical status effects. You can hold down the key for up to 8 seconds. While the key is held down, decrease damage taken from attacks, including percentage HP attacks, by 55%. When a skill ends, for each remaining second of key down time, the cooldown is decreased by 3.5 seconds. You can't really scum this key down very much. So this is kind of like your quote-unquote iframe, your survivability skill. If you hold it for just 1 second, you're left with 7. 7 times 3.5 is 24.5, so then the cooldown is basically half. It's only like 25 to 26 seconds. So that does make it pretty spammable, but for every second that you use it, 3.5 more seconds of cooldown. So if you time it perfectly, you can use this quite a lot. But this is like a really useful skill to stay alive. Was I memeing about Kishi nerf? Yes, I was. Then we have the regular Maple Warrior, or the Anima Warrior. Then we have the Anima Will to get rid of your status changes. That's all the same. Advanced 1 Mastery. This is where the real skills start. 1 Mastery is increased to 70%, 30% final damage, 50 magic attack. You know, just to give you a little bit of scaling. So if you think back about all the skills that we've already done, you don't have that many skills on this character. You have your basic attack, you have 3 eruptions, and then they all get empowered. You have 3 like supporty skills that you use sometimes to buff yourself, but you don't really use those when mobbing that much. Maybe use the one that gives you percentage damage, and then that's it. And then you have 1 to move around, 1 to like find the like you have the special little skills, right? You have the mobility skill, you have the teleporting skill, you have the one to find the veins, and you have the one to convert the flames, the veins. But you don't have to use those very much. So far, if you play it like the simple way, there's not that many skills and not that many buttons to press. And now what they're doing in 4th job is they're taking everything you already have and just buffing it indiscriminately. So you have 30% final damage here. Intensive Geomancy just buffs everything again. Mountain Kid's appearance rate is increased to 70%. Attack range increased. Percentage point damage increased for everything. Mountain Seed's duration increased. And then we have Insight and Relaxation. These 2 skills together. I see that Relaxation was nerfed. Okay. Relaxation is 50 magic attack, 30 status resistance, 30% elemental resistance. That's pretty solid. And then Insight is 20% crit rate, 20% critical damage, 45% final damage, and 40% defense. What are these skills, bro? It's like, I noticed this kit didn't have anything, so we're just gonna give everything in this 1 skill. Jesus Christ. A level 20 skill with 20 crit rate, 20 crit damage, 45% final damage, and 40% IED. That is just crazy. That is a crazy skill. They really want all the new classes to use combat orders? Yeah, combat orders on this is probably going to be 1% crit rate, 1% critical damage, probably 2% final damage, and at least 1 IED, but also 2 IED most likely. Wow, imagine getting a 42% IED line and a 47% final damage. Damn. So yeah, this skill is just beyond fucking busted. This is after 2 fixes they came up with this. I think initially they had final damage here. Like 20, I think they had 20% here, if I'm not mistaken, and then 30% here, and then another 20% here. But they thought it's better to have 30 and then 45, I guess. Remember, final damage is multiplicative, so it's not just 30 plus 45. It's an added bonus to that. I mean, I can't math that this easily. 1.3 times 1.45 is a third of this, roughly 15, 60. 90? It's probably like 87.5, right? Is it 87.5? Final damage? It might be. Something like that. Then we have the hyper skills. We have 15% IED on absorption and eruption skills. 10% damage on eruption and absorption skills. 15% boss damage on eruption and absorption skills. 15% boss damage on Spirit Sprinkle. The cooldown decrease of 20% to Slumber Awakening. Yeah, I don't really know what the Slumber Awakening does. We'll have to see that in-game to see what it actually does. Mountain Seeds Reinforce. The damage increased by 60%. I don't know how valuable that's going to be. Dragonveil Echo Enhance. When the Dragonveil's Echo is active, increase your speed by 30 and jump by 20 and recover 3% max HP every 5 seconds. Okay, nobody's going to level that. We have Familiars, bitch. Mountain Enclosure, extra shield. During Mountain Enclosure, create a shield equal to 50% of your maximum HP every second. The shield will disappear 1 second after mountain enclosure ends. Oh, so this gives additional survivability to your, like, scuffed iframe, basically. So every second, you create an extra size shield of 15% of your max HP. That keeps growing as you hold it down. This will allow you to tank so much. Because every single hit is 55% less incoming damage, and for every second you have this, you have 15% more HP in his shield as well. So that skill is going to give you quite some survivability. And then Dragon Vein Enhanced. When you cast a skill that consumes a Dragon Vein, you cannot be knocked back by any attack during the skill cast action. So that looks like knockdown resistance. Which this is probably... Yeah, that's going to be a must-have for bosses. It's going to allow you to not get knocked around by Will, not get knocked around by Lotus. Just like knockdown resistance, right? Like the blue attack from Magnus. All of those attacks are going to make sure that you stay put, you stay right where you want to be. Vine Coil makes enemies unable to move. Oh, so that's a bind, yeah. 10-second bind. It could possibly be doubled based on the damage, whatever. Deals 700% damage 6 times and up to 6 enemies. So it is a... Ow. So it is a multi-target bind. That's always nice that you don't need the Node Stone. And it's on a 3-minute cooldown. That's not perfect, but if it synchronizes with the 5th job skills, then for solo that's fine, right? Typically you're not going to be the binder when you're in a party anyway with this stuff. So we'll see what the cooldowns are of the 5th job skill. So keep in mind that 180 seconds, that's important to keep in mind. The 20-second bind, yeah, though functionally it never gets that far. Free Dragon Vein, create a free Dragon Vein that can hold any power. If you use Eruption Absorption Expression skill on a created free Dragon Vein, you can choose any element and draw out its power. You can only use free Dragon Vein when Dragon Vein reading is activated. Free Dragon Vein is not affected by cooldown reset effects. During the cast action, you have 100% stance. So it's one of those things that you can kind of spam. It's only a 1.5 second cooldown, but you prepare 1 stack every 10 seconds, and you can hold up to 3. So this will allow you even more to freely place veins where you want, and to go for the eruptions on the veins and stuff like that, and set up your bursts for bosses with this one. So you have to, over time, kind of put them where you want, and then right before, place them all down, because we have this skill. And this skill seems like it's maybe not that big, but your character model is about this big. This is about a character model size. So this is actually a huge barrier. If you think about the big barriers that Kana can put on a vein, this is more than double the size of that. And you'll have a special little music playing. Hey! Amazing. Breathtakingly large tree. So this, you summon this for 30 seconds, also on a 3-minute cooldown, right? So that synchronizes with your bind. Monsters that enter the giant tree's area will have their defense decreased by 15% for as long as the tree exists. If you're within the area, Lara's stance is increased by 100%, boss damage by 30%. This was 50% in the original one. And 10% critical damage. Every 2 seconds, Lara's status effects are cleansed. So they completely changed this to being a Lara-only skill. In the beginning, this was also a buff for other people, but so you can see that there's a debuff on the boss, which that helps everyone in the party, but all the other elements are just for Lara herself. So 30% boss, 100% increased, 10% critical damage, and every 2 seconds your status effects are cleansed. So you might have to use it in a panic situation to get your status effects off, but mainly you want to use this when you're bursting, when you're self-bursting, solo bursting, together with the bind skill. And now we get to the 5th job skills, which have some interesting animations and some big explosions. Large stretch. Please don't let your animation run too wild with that one. There's a lot of text here. Awaken the power of multiple slumbering dragon veins all at once. So this is why you want to get them all close together, have them all bundled up, put them into the element, whatever you want, and then explode them all at once. They're turned into intangible energy and track nearby enemies. The intangible energies will prioritize boss monsters within range, and if there are none, the monsters with the highest HP. If there are no boss monsters when dragon veins are awakened, they will track enemies around each dragon vein. If large stretch attacks an enemy using damage reflect, you will not receive damage. During the cast action, you have a 100% stance. Wow, when do you not at this point? Awaken 5 Dragon Veins within a certain range all at once. So it's only 5, right? 7 tangible energies are created per awakened Dragon Vein, each dealing 1,000 damage 5 times. So you can do 5 times 7. So this will deal 5 times. So this deals 35,000 damage 5 times, which is 165,000 damage, which is pretty nice. If multiple energies hit a single enemy, the second and later energies will have their final damage decreased by 30%. So it's not quite that much. It's only that much if you hit a bunch of different targets. If you hit the same target, then it's 30% damage reduction on that. But that's a cooldown of 60 seconds. If you awaken less than the maximum number of Dragon Veins, the cooldown will be decreased by 12 seconds per one fewer Dragon Vein than the total. So if it's a suboptimal cast, you will get repaid by that with lower cooldowns. So that's also quite nice. But you should be able to cycle through 3 of these within the timer. So that's quite nice. Then we have Sun River, Mountain Wind, just, you know, words together. All of the spirits will appear in order, creating 3 shockwaves. Oh, this was the biggest damaging skill if I remember. Yeah, so this animation is actually really cool. So you have the green guy just coming in, smacking. Then the blue guy comes squashing. And then the earth spirit comes, blows a mighty wind. The fire guy comes, splashes down, all the elements merge, and then giant explosion. So this is like the big skill that they have. So it creates 3 shockwaves that each deal 1400% damage 10 times on up to 10 enemies afterwards. So each of them do that. They all create 3. And then afterwards, an explosion that deals 1700% damage 15 times and up to 10 enemies is activated 7 times. So this is a lot of numbers, a lot of damage, big percentage. You know, 15% 7 times, that's a 105 times 17. So that's 170,000 plus 8,500. So that's 125,500 damage on the last explosion alone. So this is a big big explosion. Then we have Surging Spirits. Activates 5 shockwaves that each deal 850% damage 8 times on up to 10 enemies on a 20-second cooldown. This is going to be a large part of your damage because you're going to be just cycling between this thing. This thing is going to be up a lot. And because of the 20-second, I wonder if I think it's the only skill with that cooldown though. I don't think this is going to be enough to make you want to get a cooldown reduction hat. Probably not, but this is going to do a lot of damage. Then we have Winding Ridges. Basically, these guys are going to be... You're just going to summon a bunch of these, and they're just going to walk across the map and just smash into things and just destroy it. So you can put... And they will... they made them smarter so they don't all show up on the same platform and like share damage and kiss each other. But they're going to try to spawn on different platforms as well and walk around for a while. If there is a boss monster nearby, they will burst up from around the boss monster. If an Witches attacks an enemy using damage reflect, you will not take damage. If there are no platforms for them to burst up from, you cannot use this skill. So they do have to come out from platforms. So you summon 3 groups of them, just running around thrashing stuff in the map. For 30 seconds, and it's a 60-second cooldown, so this is up half the time. They will run towards nearby enemies and deal 500% damage 5 times and up to 6 enemies at certain intervals. The running speed will be decreased if they collide with enemies. Each group can attack for a total of 20 times. So they're probably going to be, you know, desummoned within the 30 seconds, but if you get to the point where these guys can one-shot, then essentially every summon just kills 60 monsters. So that's not too bad. Then we have the common anima skill, which, yeah, so what I said before was not correct. It's not the blessing skill, but it's the common anima skill, which Ho Young didn't have one of. So this one is the lotus flower. Basically what you do is you put one of the rosebuds, these lotus bud, you put that on the map, and it just stays there until you die. If you die, this happens. You'll get summoned towards it, you'll get flown up into the air, and you'll be immune for a little bit. But what this will do is that you won't die. Basically, this is like a door skill for the Ho Young and for the anima. So you summon Lotus Flower, special power, blah, blah, Blessing, instead of dying and you are reborn, the skill cannot be used if Heaven's Door buff is active. If Heaven's Door buff is received while the Lotus Flower is summoned, the Lotus Flower will disappear. The cooldown is pretty gnarly as well. Consumes 50% max MP, which is interesting. Suspicion Ancient Flower for 1,775 seconds. After reviving, you'll be invincible for 3.5 seconds. That's when you... But you're not like... It's not like Door where, you know, it just consumes and you're done. No, you get teleported to the flower. And you have to also die near the flower. You get teleported into it, and you get flown up into the air and then fall again. So it does break up your... it does break up your animation and stuff. New to Switch, is this live? This just went live yesterday in KMS, so this is probably 6 months away from us. This is the new character. We just got Kain, and then KMS just got this class Lara, so we'll have to wait probably around 6 months. Probably next, January, like January, our winter update, December or January, whenever they release it for us. And then cooldown of 400 seconds. If you successfully revive, the cooldown is increased by 1,425 seconds. So there's a patch in between this and Neo. Was the Yeti stuff and oh god, skill rework stuff, a lot of quality of life stuff, a lot of boss rework stuff. I hope we get either Lab or Dark Lords of Darkness or anything like that. Maple memo, July 16. What? Oh, it's already the 17th for me. Never mind. Yeah, we'll look at the memo in a hot minute. And then Grant has got his blessing. This skill now increases Lara's final damage boost when Dragon Vein's Echo is activated, which is you want all the time, to 10% instead. Yeah. So the Grant has got his blessing just gives 5% extra damage to Lara, other than the anima boost that already exists, which I think is percentage damage for a little bit. I think. Link skill. Link skill is a flat amount, a small flat amount of 5% damage, and then extra damage to normal monsters if you kill enough normal monsters for 30 seconds with a 30-second cooldown. So that's basically going to be up all the time. So when it comes to mobbing, it's 16% damage at level 2, and when it comes to bossing, it's just 5% damage. So it's specifically a mobbing skill. Obviously true, yeah. And then we have some skill changes. So Archmage's Ice Lightning skill will be continuous attack instead of one hit after used, and the damage is decreased as a result because it's continuous rather than in one go. I don't know if this is actually a buff or a nerf. The current Freeze Breath could only attack monsters one time, and it would not attack enemies that were already hit again. Therefore, if you use Freezing Breath right before an enemy's bind resistance ended, the attack could hit during the bind resistance, and you would not be able to bind them. So this is actually good if you're soloing, but really bad if you're partying, because you don't want to accidentally hit with your Freezing Breath when there's a Kana on your team trying to go for the longer one. So to improve its usability, Freezing Breath has been changed to an install skill that continuously attacks enemies regardless of if they have been attacked before or not, so that you can bind properly. So this is just going to be something that Ice Lightning mages and people with Ice Lightning mages in their party are going to have to get used to. Windbreaker, yeah, that's the unfortunate name for Wind Archer in KMS. Traveling Whim allows arrows will now remain in place for 2 seconds and search for another enemy if the target enemy disappears after they are activated. That's actually quite nice if you're moving through the map with this skill. A lot of times you'll just kill monsters quickly once you get really strong, and the arrows will kind of just fizzle out. But especially, this is going to be even better for GMS compared to KMS, right? Because with totems and with enhancement spawners in general, we have faster monster respawn. So there's more chance that monsters respawn in those 2 seconds that those guys are flying around, and that they'll have new targets to fly around with. So for Wind Archer, that's kind of nice. Another buff in Vortex Sphere, where the cooldown has been decreased from 35 seconds to 30 seconds, and the movement speed will be decreased by 50% for 1 second if it hits a boss monster. So if you're using this on a boss, it'll slow down and it'll have half the speed, so it hit twice as much on a boss, essentially, right? Almost twice as much, depending on if the boss is teleporting around and such. And you will be able to use it every 30 seconds instead of 35. So when it comes to Wind Archer, these are two very nice changes that are not huge changes, as in you have to, you know, use different skills or anything like that. But the skills that you are already using are getting a nice buff. And my Goddess Blessing is 13% damage. There it is. 100% knockback resistance, and yeah, Hoyoung gets a bunch of stuff. Yeah, so 13% damage and 100% knockback resistance. Yeah, which is kind of so the fact that Lara gets some final damage from that skill is the least that they could do, I think. And then for Evan, I already talked about this before, but Evan and Battle Mages are getting their multipliers changed for their staff and wand from 1.0 to 1.2. And in case you're not aware with how the damage calculation is done, this essentially means that this 20% increase in their multiplier is a flat 20% final damage increase to all damage that Battle Mages and Evans will do. So that's quite nice for those two classes. Drain Aura is also going to get a change. Drain Aura now recovers your MP based on 0.1% of the damage dealt. You can only recover up to 10% of your max MP at a time. The recovery block time is shared with the HP recovery. So just a little bit extra quality of life of getting extra MP along with extra HP on the Drain Aura, so you don't have to pot as much while you're bursting out and going crazy. Then Xenon is going to become the best character in the game. JK, they're going to be slightly less horrible. Efficiency Pipeline is going to be a passive. The HP and MP boost is moved to the booster. The booster is now also passive, so why they move the HP and the MP, I have no idea, because they're both passive, so why does it matter where the HP and MP boost is? But okay. Minority Sport, all the stats boost has been increased from 20 to 25. Amazing. Dual breed defense, this skill has been changed to passive as well. The additional avoid rate is no longer changed based on the number of remaining avoids and is fixed at 45% at max level, which is, I think, a decent buff, I think. Damage reduction has been increased from 5% to 10%. This doesn't work on percentage HP attacks, so it's whatever. Parts, this is the biggest one. So this is a skill that you kind of have to weave, and this is why you want buff duration on the Xenon, because this is what gives you a bunch of final damage. Upart's code is the duration has been increased from 30 seconds to 40 seconds. That's already pretty nice. That makes it a lot easier to keep it 100% uptime. But the final damage boost has also been increased from 25 to 30. Nothing to, you know, make it Xenon now the best class in the game, but it's definitely a huge quality of life improvement for them to get a little bit more damage when they're using it, and it's going to be easier to keep it up at all times. So that's good for Xenon. And then the Meltdown Explosion damage has been increased from 900% to 1500%. I mean, that's nice, I guess, to get 66.666 repeating percent damage increase, final damage increase. But this is mainly used either as an iframe or as a bossing debuff to give you more IED. So, I mean, I guess the damage is a little bit up, but that don't seem that really infecting the game much at all. And then for the third time in a row, Kain are getting slight buffs again. Grinding 2, the Phantom Blade damage boost increased from 35% points to 115% points. That's a pretty big thing. I think because Phantom Blade doesn't get used as much, and they want people to use that more. And Tearing Knife's damage boost have increased from 95 to 115% points. Advanced Death Blessing, Merit Buff's final damage boost to Death Blessing execute skills have been increased from 5% points to 10% points, and it's a final damage boost, so that's nice. And Chasing Shot, which I think is already a pretty strong skill, cooldown decreased from 30 to 25 seconds, and the number of monsters hit increased from 7 to 8. So that is pretty nice for those 5 classes that got something. No one else seems to have gotten anything in this patch. But this is coming off the tail end, I guess, of a patch, of a skill rework major one that they already had. So if you guys are kind of following the release, it's usually big summer event, big rebalancing event, minor balancing, some kind of pink bean stuff, anniversary stuff, and then maybe a little bit more small tweaks again. And then again, a big winter event, then a big balancing event after that. That's usually the schedule. So this is like we were due for a small balancing event. It seems that they're changing some guild stuff. If you're not keeping up with all the guild stuff, Flag Race has been redone. The waterway, the what is it? The culvert has been completely redone. It's all single player. You can go whenever you want. Well, it's for Culvert. It's single player. You can go when you want. Whatever your best record is, that's what counts for the week. Same thing with Flag Race. You get an invite every hour at the half hour now. So it's more regular. So you can go at every half hour, but there's more opportunities to go. And whatever is the best record you get for that day in Flag Race, that's the one that counts for that day. So you'll be a bit more free to participate when you want. And it's mostly going to be just, you know, if you get a good record, then you don't have to keep going all the time. So you'll have more free time to just AFK and Heneho in Genesis Channel 1. Characters must have 1 or more weekly guild mission points to participate in a flag race. If you haven't kept up with all of that, basically you're going to get weekly guild mission points. Guild is going to be able to get up to, God, how many is it again? Is it 20 or 40? I don't know. They're going to have to be able to get a certain amount of points, which you just get by bossing and mobbing on your characters. And those points are also going to be part of the equation to paying out guild skills. So basically when this happens, even if you have a very, very weak guild with few players, this is mainly designed for KMS, of course, where there's very high competitive scene in the more crowded servers, where it's very difficult for low-level guilds with few players to get any kind of guild skills. Basically, they increase the baseline of how many guild skills you can have access to. The first 10 skills will be very easy to get, and then it'll still be very hard to get the higher level ones. But they also made it so that you can no longer use the Noblesse guild skills inside the Underground Culvert, which came from, you know, based on questions from KMS, because they didn't want the people who are already at the top be able to use stronger skills so they can stay at the top more easily. Yeah, so to make it a little bit more competitive between all the people who are trying to get those high-level skills. Also, all of your participation is going to be completely visible to your juniors and to your guild masters. So if you're slacking for a week or two, everyone's going to see. Everyone's going to see exactly how many points you got in the previous weeks. So you better be working on supporting your guild, okay? When you enter Flag Race, your HP will be restored. Imagine dying to the fire in Flag Race. Yikes. Monster Life, I don't know anything about this, but apparently this is a nice thing, I guess. And then some quest stuff, item stuff, Maple auction stuff. This is all very minor stuff. When a character's death penalty is applied, the reduced experience will now be displayed. Beautiful. You can no longer change your weapon while weapon jump rings skill durations are active. Okay. All of these changes are probably very small. Usually Max highlights these that are important. Issue where Paladin's elemental charge damage reduction did not apply to attacks that dealt more than 100% maximum HP damage. Oh, small buff, Pog. Dual Blade and Blade Tornado's activated tornado will no longer remove Dark Sight. Beautiful. When Thunderbreakers right click to cancel the lightning buff, Element Lighting. Element Lighting will now also be cancelled. Beautiful, because that's in conjunction with that. Zero's Critical Bind will no longer activate from skills that bind enemies, which is probably a good idea. You can't double bind anyway. Well, I mean, you kind of can, but not like that. Boss monsters, these are all small changes. Yeah, not going over these exactly. If you want to read about those, the link to the patch notes is in the chat right now and will be in the description of the video as well if you want to read over all the details. It's Chore Simulator. If you really feel that that's what it's becoming, that it's just like daily Chore Simulator, it's a good time to check the dailies command, look at the list, look at what you want to achieve, take a step back and axe some things from your daily routine, because no one gets happy from logging into the game and the only thing you're is like, okay, well, I guess I've got to go through get my checklist and do all the things I have to do. That is like the best way to suck all of the happiness out of your life. So get back to the drawing board, exclamation mark dailies, look for your level, burp, wait for it to load, go to the dailies by level, look for your level. Oh, you're like 220. Cool. Look for the blue stuff. Which things do you really need? Which things do you not need? Start axing things, because you're not going to get happy from doing a bunch of stuff that... Holy shit, I lost. From a bunch of stuff that you don't... that your heart's not in. It's not gonna work well. Quests, items, map changes. Nothing is boldened here, so I'm going to assume... that there's nothing insane here. If there are no buffs that can be protected by the buff freezer, the resurrection UI will no longer save the buff freezer usage check. Beautiful. Oh yeah, the respawn and the buff freezer is going to be like consolidated into one button as well. But that's all stuff that's already on the way. So if you've seen my previous KMS and KMS Tespia patch reviews, you'll see that stuff over there. Print screen key will no longer work while the game is running, but you can use Alt print screen to take screenshots. Right, because it would cause things to freeze, yeah. So they put it in a combination so that you can't like accidentally press it anymore. As much. Cash Shop, so this is another Cash Shop transfer event, which they said they were going to do more regularly. They want to do it once a month, so this is going to be another 5 days of you being able to transfer your stuff around. As per usual in KMS, they've got 16 million hairstyles and faces. Lara Adventure Cheering, beautiful. So Lara seems to get the same treatment as Kain, with all of the items they're in. Level 30 gear, level 60 gear. Sorry, level 30 gear, level 100 gear, level 150 gear. Imagine needing level 60 gear. 12 star, epic stuff. And then these items will have epic potential 12 stars. 90-day. You will also receive a personality trait potion, so the growth potion, and the Mitra's double experience coupon box, which will give 10 double experience coupons for 15 minutes when you opened once per week and can be opened up to 4 times. Okay, and then there's Romantic Geomancer title, which gives 15 all set, 15 weapon magic attack, 10% boss, 10% defense ignore, 750 HP MP, 10% bonus experience, and 30 arcane force. That's pretty similar to the current title on Kain, if I'm not mistaken, right? 15, 15, 10, 10. That's exactly the same. Okay, cool. At level 205, you will see 50 symbols, 10 nodes, and 1 experience node. Level 210, 50 symbols, 10 nodes, and 1 experience node. And at 215, again, on the Lara. So that is gonna, wow, 150 symbols, 30 extra nodes, 3 experience nodes for getting to 215 as the Lara. That's pretty nice. I guess somebody link me the latest big balancing patch in KMS. The latest big one? God, hang on, dude. What? No. Orange mushroom. Is it over here? Neo. Fuck, it's not over there. It's after the big shiny purple thing. This one. Job balancing. From February. And okay. Oh, we don't use that word here. At least not add people. Things can be, but people, we don't try to use that word for that. It looks like another Phagzo box / Dominator box, of course. Never get the Dominator, as always. Always get the Phagzo on a item that a character that can use it. Unless you have absolutely no character that can possibly use this, you can use this on your character, get a little bit of crit rate, a little bit of main stat. You can flame this for decent stats and just keep it as your damaging pendant for quite a bit. Level 220, you will get that box. 17, 15. You will also receive 2 experience nodes and the Mitra's gift box, which gives 20 selective arcane symbol vouchers and 5 nodes when opened once per week and can be opened 8 times. So you're getting that one on top of it again. So you get up to 16 experience nodes. No, sorry. Up to... You get 2 experience nodes and you get up to 160 extra arcane symbols and 40 extra nodes again. That's pretty big. Just because you played for a decade doesn't mean you can shit on everyone else. True. I don't know where that's coming from though. Maple Life, greatest step up. Oh yeah, we already went through this in for the KMS So you're going to be... Pink Bean is going to try to become a YouTuber and make content with a... He's got a camera on a selfie stick. He's got a boom mic on top of it. You can become a silver creator, gold creator. Oh yeah, you collect likes and beans. Becoming a YouTuber, yeah, I can imagine becoming a YouTuber in current year. A few daily missions and monthly missions have been changed. Oh, you gotta try to get subscribers and beans. Yeah, dude. And like depending on what quest you do, you'll get likes and subscribers and beans and shit. Yeah. Don't shit on everyone else, just shit on me. Okay, no scat in the chat, please. Maple Esports, Judges of the Sky. Yes, we're finally becoming an esport, guys. Rejoice. We're finally going to be taken serious on the international stage. Yeah, I'm not sure what any of this stuff is. There's a giant hammer. Okay, you receive an invitation on top of your head at 15 and 45. 10 to 20 people can participate. You press the jump key while in the air to double jump. You can press the control key to use the toy hammer swing skill. If you hold the key down, you can charge energy in your hammer. When you release the skill, you can swing it to deal damage to multiple enemies while stunning and knocking them back. When the energy is filled, the stun duration and the knockback are increased. 2 types of enemies will be created around the map. They can use pressing the Z key. Bomb throw. Throw a bomb forwards that deals damage and stuns multiple enemies. High barrier become immune to damage and stuns for a certain period of time. However, you will not ignore death from the lasers. I don't know what any of that. I'm gonna have to see that. But this is gonna be like a PvP game, I guess, where you try to get as many points as possible. Where you like launch yourself, swing with a big hammer, shield yourself from from stuff, but you won't be shielded from laser death. And then based on how many points you get, you probably get a score. And then there's probably going to be rankings afterwards, I guess. Honor reward, receive the Golden Toy Hammer voucher when you have an accumulative total of 1,800 game points. And a Toy Hammer Judge voucher when you have a cumulative total of 3,600 game points. Okay. Maple Variety Puzzle Master. Some crazy stuff. Did she have a growth spurt? Why is she so tall now? Okay, collaborate with other creators because you're going to be an influencer, guys. You're going to be a YouTuber. So you're going to be puzzling with other people. It's looks very difficult to make a 5x4 puzzle. 20 whole pieces. Press space to pick up puzzle pieces and move it. Oh, here are all the pictures of the puzzles beforehand, so you already know what everything is going to look like. Oh, there's quite a few puzzles, actually. Everyone's going to make this puzzle. Use a bunch of older artwork, but also some new artwork. There's quite a lot of puzzles, Jesus. There'd be like 5 of them. There's like 40 of them or some shit. We're getting Overcooked. Overcooked is oh, that game. I think that's out before this, so that's probably like 5 months away for us, I'm guessing. When you complete the puzzle, next stage will begin. You complete 3 stages, get experience and progress. Wow. This event gives a lot of experience for a small amount of work. Level 230s, 3.3 bill experience. 240s, 3.8. 250s, 4.5. 260s, 13.5 bill experience. Level 280s, 25.7. And level 284, that's the highest level, I guess, that tried 27.1 bill experience. This scales pretty well. I'm in my 270s now, so I would probably get like in between this, so probably get like 18 or something. How much did I get per hour? I got like, on my best I got like 400, but more like 370, which is exactly 20 times. So that would be, would that be half a, no. 1/4%, so 0.25% for me in my 270s. That's not bad. Depending on how long it takes, of course. But yeah, that's basically like 3 minutes. Someone named KegW is in the chat. Nice. It's basically 3 minutes worth of experience when you're training. So if you weren't planning on training, it's a nice little buff. If you were planning on training, it's not great. Gift show. Your special skill to gain points when you're killing monsters near your level. Beautiful. Happy birthday, Pink Bean. Celebrate Pink Bean's birthday. Amazing. To complete the mission, you must reach your daily limit of pink beans. Remember those currency, the blue beans, the pink beans. 10k people who enter the lottery will have a chance to win real-life prizes. 10k people? BHC half fried chicken, marinated chicken, cheese balls, 1.25 liter cola gift icon, Baskin Robbins quarter ice cream gift icon, Starbucks iced cafe americano gift, tall gift. What? You're getting IRL food prizes. I don't know if this is gonna do anything in GMS. That's strange. Can I go to KFC and get like a bucket of fried chicken? Is BHC, is that like the KFC? Gangnam deep fried chicken? That's gonna be interesting. And then the Sunday Maple, which of course, as always in KMS, they actually don't know ahead of time what's coming. They know the standard Sundays where it's like double the daily missions and double the acquisition limit, but they don't know what's coming. We know when we get the patch notes, we know everything immediately. Actually, we know one already. We know that this weekend there's going to be 30% off Star Force, right? So we're actually... No, wait, this weekend? What day is it today? No, not this weekend. Next weekend, right? What is this? What is this? Where's my calendar? Oh, did I kill my calendar? We know that next weekend there's going to be 30% off, which KMS doesn't know anything, even when the patch hits, on what's coming the exact weekend afterwards. They get those announcements quite late. So, yeah, we're kind of blessed, hashtag blessed in that sense. So yeah, that's all the stuff that went live on KMS 2 days ago, I think. Was it on the 14th? Yeah. Well, for me it's the 17th, but it's technically the 16th for you guys. So this went live 2 days ago, and we will expect this to come live to GMS in about 6 months. So this is going to be the second part of the winter update, 2021 into 2022. So let me know if you're excited for the class. You'll probably see some gameplay if you look up Steve's stuff, X3, the Aaron 59 or something. It's impressive that Steve hasn't rebranded yet either, because that name, you would expect that. But I guess at a certain point, you could just do, as long as people can find you, that's more important than having a name that's like a little bit easier to roll off the tongue. Where was another 30% Star Force announced? During the stream that led people to come here in the first place. During the official MapleStory stream. I missed the Kana updates. Anything crucial? There's no Kana updates. Nothing. The one thing that they wanted to announce was that there are going to be familiar cards and familiar badge sets for Morass and Asphera. So it will be easier to get to your 10 sets completed to get your unlocked your third familiar, and there will be some extra stats coming from that as well. When? With the upcoming update on July 21st. So we're going to be looking at the MapleStory website and waiting for at least July 20th for the patch notes for our version 224. Was it Lights Creation or something? I don't remember exactly what it was called. There's a fast turnaround? Yeah, between JMS and GMS, the turnaround is actually pretty quickly. I think a lot of that stuff gets copy-pasted over pretty solidly fast. A lot of times GMS gets those 5th job stuff. They all got it a little bit before us, but then we got it right after. So I assume that those things are constantly in development for JMS and GMS almost at the same time, so they can release it right after it. And then GMS is kind of the test server for us to see if things work, and then we are kind of the test server for other regions. Everyone tests for another region, and then, you know, everyone is the beta and the alpha and the whatever for someone else. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about Lara. She's now officially in KMS, and we will be expecting her to hit the live servers in 6 months. And do you guys plan on playing her? Also, if you're any of the classes that got a little bit of tweaks as well, let me know if you're interested in that. And I guess I'll go over the memo real quick that we saw that they put on the website for GMS. But let me know what you think, and